Can I just say, I really need the world to stop sending me news that makes me unhappy. But hello everyone, Bell is back, and we got some new news right now that I was very shocked by, that James Gunn, James Gunn is going to be co-CEO of the DC EU. I guess it's now being rebranded the DCU, which is what it should have been in the first place. But basically, DC has been going through some turmoil that they couldn't find a CEO. They had somebody, and then he backed out, and it seemed like, even though the article for this recent news said that it's a highly coveted position, it seemed like a lot of people just didn't want to take such a difficult role in trying to please a big fan base and all that. But now we have James Gunn and his producing partner Peter Safran going to run the DCEU. They say that James Gunn will handle the creative aspect to it, and Peter Safran will handle the business, the monetary aspect of it. And that James Gunn is also going to be given a job overseeing the TV and animation departments of DC. So when I look around on the internet over this, for Twitter, for Reddit, I'm just seeing everyone overjoyed at this news. But when I went into my comment section, I saw people more mixed on this news. So I have already given it away. I'm not too happy about this, and let me just explain why. First of all, I don't really understand why people are saying that, oh, James Gunn understands all of these characters. I saw somebody claim that nobody understands DC and Marvel characters better than James Gunn. I don't know where that's coming from. His forte in Marvel was Guardians of the Galaxy, which was an obscure D-list comic book group until he kind of made it his own with the help of Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon actually had some original say in what the Guardians of the Galaxy would be. And then he did the Suicide Squad, which was a movie with D-list and under characters, except, yes, there has been one A-lister that James Gunn has worked with, and we will talk about that in a minute. But even though he did a good job with both those properties, those D-list characters, he still has almost exclusively worked with very obscure D-list characters and trying to give them something from there. So I don't know why people are declaring that James Gunn really understands DC and Marvel characters, because we haven't seen him go on any of the major ones yet, like Superman. Like he did the press release, and he made a statement with Peter Safran that, like, they can't wait to work with Superman, Batman, Aquaman, and they name dropped Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn. We will get to that last one. But he hasn't worked on any of those characters, and he posted a pretty distasteful thing about like which DC characters that he wanted them to hook up with. And at one point he said that he wanted Batwoman, Kate Kane, to hook up with this male character to turn her from a lesbian or anything. Anyway, that's what I'm trying to get at here. James Gunn is known for having very, very bad taste, and that's why even with the Suicide Squad, even though it was a well-made film, it is not a film that clicked with a lot of people. It is a film that did not make a lot of money at the box office, despite not getting very positive reviews. And I've done a breakdown in my Harley Quinn sales video how it didn't even do well on HBO Max. And that's why it's so odd to me that he would be the lead of DC all of a sudden, like Peacemaker. Yes, there's people who like Peacemaker, but I've never really seen it as a mainstream show. I'm not sure how many people actually watched it because they never released any numbers, but I saw a clip of it or two, and I'm just like, that's not for me. That's not what I want for DC characters. And I didn't really care, because it's like, it's Peacemaker. Once again, it's a D-list character. The other characters of the DC universe only appeared there in, like, guest stars or cameos. It didn't really matter to me. But you go back to James Gunn's taste, where he, at one point, I think that in that weird DC hookup list, he mentioned teenage Cassandra Cain should go with someone. I don't know. I can't remember it exactly. It's just, this guy has bad taste, and he was, of course, canceled off of Twitter because of some very distasteful tweets about young boys, jokes about young boys being molested. I remember them. But a lot of people don't seem to realize it went further than jokes. There are pictures of him out there I don't really want to show them on my channel, but there's pictures of him hosting a pedophile themed party. He hangs out with people who've been convicted child molesters. He's a creepy guy, what I'm getting at. And he has cleaned up his act in terms of Twitter ever since he returned. He has a very loyal fan base of comic book fans thanks to the Suicide Squad Guardians of the Galaxy. But he's not a great guy, and not as a person, it wouldn't seem, not behind the scenes when he's not putting on a nice face in interviews and on Twitter. And his taste is very niche. It's not something that you're going to really attract a lot of people to when he's given the freedom. That's the big distinction. With Guardians of the Galaxy, it was different because Disney and Kevin Feige were reining him back in, making sure everything was PG-13. When he's given free reign to do what he wants to do in like the Suicide Squad or Peacemaker, it's always over the top violent, over the top sexual, really, really bad humor in that both regards. And some people like that, and that's why some people enjoy the Suicide Squad as a whole. But it doesn't appeal to people in, I would argue, the mainstream. The only thing mainstream that he's really made that really blew up as a blockbuster was the Guardians of the Galaxy movies because of Disney. Which is what I'm getting at here, and I hope if you're watching and you're excited about this news, you consider that. James Gunn is not really a person who is a good guy to run an entire fraction of films that are supposed to be mainstream. He's not a guy who I can see doing Superman, for example. There's been a lot of talk recently about doing a Man of Steel sequel and getting Superman back. He was offered a Superman film, which tells me that the people at DC don't know what they're doing. But he refused it, and I thought that's good because I don't see James Gunn as being the right match for a Superman film. But now they're saying that he's going to helm that and helm Aquaman, and they imply that he's now involved in the Batman somehow. Matt Reeves' Batman universe is completely different than anything that I think I've ever seen from James Gunn, which is why it's so weird to me. They've said so far the only thing that we know for sure he's not going to touch is the Joker movie. That is separate, but we're not sure about the Batman universe. I would love it if he's separate from the Batman universe. But that's why this is just more roller coaster news for me. And it's like the people who are excited about this on the internet right now because James Gunn did some films that they like. And so that means that they assume he's going to do a great job with these future movies. I'm just like, I don't really see where you're coming from. Oh, okay, let's talk about that one character. The one A-list character that James Gunn has done has been Harley. Now, I really want to do a longer form video breaking this down because I think it's really necessary, but I have not been happy by how Harley has been used in the DCEU. Now, the DCEU, yes, I do agree Margot Robbie is perfectly capable of playing the role. It's been how she's been portrayed more so. I need to do an entire video on it, but when people say I like the way Margot Robbie portrays the character, how she plays her, I don't really know what they mean because Harley doesn't have a character in the DCEU because they're constantly changing her from one thing to the next, director to director. And when James Gunn got the helm, first of all, I was appreciative that he put her in an original costume, the one that the red and black one she's supposed to wear, and that he gave credit to where credit is due, that Paul Dini created the character. He loves that version of the character. But then when she came out, she was not so much like the Paul Dini version. She was kind of a hodgepodge of different versions. He really seemed like he only wanted to go for the joke with the character again. And that's frustrating because you need to give the character some substance if she's going to be in these movies so much. And she used to have substance, but she doesn't in the movies. And he did this weird thing where there's a joke about her hooking up with a guy and then shooting him, and then the one moment she has any depth in the film is when she references her relationship with the Joker and how she's trying to move on from that, but we never get to see that on screen. And they interestingly left the Joker's name absent off of the characters that they're excited to work with. And Margot Robbie does not like to work with the Joker. She had said that in interviews, and that's why we're probably going to just get going forward where Harley is just the jokey joke character and presumably in James Gunn's style of humor. And I don't like that style of humor for Harley, and I really think that she would benefit if they would actually just define her character and make her a little bit more than a lot of just Margot Robbie trying to make quips the entire movie. But and she hasn't been selling. Once again, check the sales video. Even Forbes declared that Margot Robbie's Harley is just not popular in the real world. And Margot Robbie, of the stars that are listed as box office draws, nowhere near on that list. She cannot draw the box office herself. But James Gunn is personally friends with Margot Robbie. He likes her rendition of the character, so he has made clear his intents to try to continue with that, which is really disappointing to me. And at least I still have the Lady Gaga version of it that's coming out, which I'm still looking forward to. And it looks like that's going to remain untainted. I hope that Matt Reeves has the freedom to do a take on the character himself. But that disappoints me, and it disappoints me because it's like now we've got James Gunn, who, yes, he's a fan of comics, but he's fans of his own specific things in comics. And so it's like, and he apparently, it was really disappointed because he gave so much depth to characters like Ratcatcher that had none before, but Harley became shallowed out and just person there to stab people who wouldn't fight her back because James Gunn made it so that the guards she fought would not fight so she could defeat them, who would get with this guy just because he's hot and then shoot him, even though she didn't even seem interested in that in the last film. So it just seems like it's going to be more of that, and it's going to be James Gunn pushing what he wants because he can, because he's been given the power. Now, luckily, he's the co-CEO. Peter Safran has to make sure that he handles the business side of things. So I imagine there's going to be people who can say no to James Gunn, that he can't just do everything his way. But it's so odd because it's like if you said Taika Waititi is going to run Marvel. And, well, maybe not that bad because Taika Waititi doesn't even care about comics. But what I'm saying is you've got someone who has a very specific creative vision and a very specific style that does not necessarily match with any of the characters or most of the characters, I would say. And that's why I think that it's just another DC roller coaster. And it's just like, when is this going to end? You're going from CEO to CEO to different vision to different vision. It's like how I've been complaining about how Harley has been portrayed. One movie she's this way, the next movie she's another way, the next movie she's another way, because we're constantly juggling different people's visions and you never land on something. So those are my thoughts on James Gunn taking over for DC. Honestly, this is enough to make me not even care about future DC movies beyond the Batman and the Joker movie, because it's like, this doesn't sound like it's for me, and I just look at all the people shilling for James Gunn, and I'm like, I don't even think that you guys are looking from a different angle at this. It's just like, this guy did movies that I like, therefore he's going to be a great CEO. I don't see that at all. So, what do you guys think in the comments? Are you mad at me for what I've said? Do you think that James Gunn is amazing? Why do you think he's amazing? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.